Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Han and I make videos on design, my life, and stuff. In today's video, I'll be talking about things that you might not have considered, but definitely should when you're considering your first or your next job in UX. Okay, so traditionally when people think about starting a new job or, thinking about a new company, or let's say you have a job offer in hand, what should you be considering or thinking about when you are figuring out if this is a company or if this is an offer that you should take? I think there's three main areas that you should consider when it comes to thinking through a job offer. The first is company culture. The second is your career and its growth. Number three is your salary, but what I prefer to call is your total compensation. If you're interested in learning more about my own personal salary journey, feel free to click on this video around here somewhere where I spill all the tea on how much I make, including the dollar figures. Alrighty, so the first topic or area that I'd want you to consider is the company culture. For different people, culture means different things to them. And I want to say the first thing that you should consider is your team. Who are you going to be working with? Have you met them? If not, you really should. Who is going to be your manager? What is his or her experience? Is it their first time managing? Do they have a proven track record of people who have reported into them? What your role is going to be. So who your team interfaces with. So for instance, me, when I first joined Wattpad, my team was the product team for ads, but I regularly interfaced with our brand solution, which is our sales team, and also our marketing team. So I think looking to those different adjacent teams that you would be interacting with will really help, although I'm not sure if it's going to be super relevant for them as part of your interview process to meet, but still a consideration to make nonetheless. Another thing about company culture that you should consider is work-life balance. Does this company value work-life balance? And what do those working hours look like? Are you expected to come in every morning at 9 o'clock sharp and leave at 6 p.m. sharp? Is there someone walking around actually making that observation? Or are you going to be working in more of a flexible timeline where, as long as you kind of get your work done within an 8-hour day, it's kind of up to you how you slice and dice that? Maybe your company is completely remote, and there are things to consider when it comes to remote, but I have never done a full remote position, so I feel like I'm unqualified to talk about that. Topic under company culture that I would consider when evaluating a job offer is the company history and its stability. So, for instance, what has this company done thus far? How many rounds of funding have they done? And how much growth have they had? Are they being publicly traded? If so, how healthy are their stocks? Are their stocks going up? Are they going down? Are they super volatile? And I think a quick Google search looking at the company and just clicking and filtering out for news will really give you a sense of at least media, on the media side, how are they portrayed, and if they're actually prone to bad PR or good PR. Either way, it's good to know all of that up front. Awesome. So now that you've thought through the company culture and hopefully it has all checked the right boxes for you, the next area to consider is your career growth. Are you able to grow your skills here? Are you able to use this position and have this positively influence where your career trajectory will go? So depending on where you want to end up, so maybe you want to be a design manager, you want to lead teams. Will this job help you get to that specific end goal? A way to see if this company fosters a learning culture is if they have education grants. And what this is a set budget for a department or per individual contributor level to attend conferences or workshops or any type of education that is deemed to help this person in their role become better at their job. And so a lot of this is not necessarily just handed out to you, but there has to be some sort of tie back to what your role is. So I'm not sure, but some companies might allow you to just take a random course. Specifically at Wattpad, our team does look to design specific courses, workshops, conferences, so that we are constantly bringing back value to the company in a design capacity. Another thing to think about when it comes to career growth is, where is your current position and sort of the reporting structure? So let's say you join the company and your current role doesn't really have a path of career growth, meaning there's no level above you. Talk to your manager about this, or to your hiring manager about this, and state your concerns, because sometimes that's just because the company's new and so they haven't quite carved out those sort of mid-level tiers or manager layers, and sometimes they just flat out don't have them, which could mean that you are going to have to take a pretty big leap between your current position, so as an individual contributor, to let's say a director role. I know that I've had experience with that in the past, and that was something that a lot of people felt was discouraging, because the leap between IC and manager level or director level was so high, and it was deemed to be tough, that folks would much rather look elsewhere than to look for that career growth within their own company. Okay, so we've talked about now company culture and career. You might be asking, Han, what the hell? Shouldn't you be talking about salary and like numbers and how much I'm gonna get paid? And like, yeah, that is 100% important, because the reason why you are going to a job is to get paid, to get money, to do stuff in your life that you can do, like survive and buy food and pay for a place to live. But the reason why I kept it for last is because I feel like, although it is one of the most important things, it is an area that you have to traverse very carefully and think through very analytically, and not just take numbers at face value. And what I mean by this is, when people talk about salary, it could refer to, okay, how much money, like dollar monies, do I have to take home every year, versus total compensation, which means how much is my company giving me, whether it is actual dollars or indirect dollars by, by covering a big portion of my medical bill, or giving me time off to go on vacation, or go on vacation, or take any time off. And also, in different stages of your life, are they going to be there to support you sort of like through sickness and in health? And that's what I want you to think about. So the first area that you should think about when it comes to your salary is, okay, dollar amount. What is company X going to give me in my pocket at the end of the year? Like, by the end of the year, how much should I expect to have in my bank account? Well, first of all, you have to think about a lot of different things, like your income bracket. So what that means is, at certain income brackets, you get taxed a certain amount. So taking that all into consideration, all the other deductions from the government, and paying out certain things and whatever, what does that look like towards the end of the year? Another thing to consider when it comes to salary is your benefits and what the benefits package that the company is offering. Do they make you pay into your benefits, meaning they are going to pay for a portion of it and then they have you pay for another portion? The benefits could include medical, so medicine, for those in the States or those without universal health care, it can mean visits to the doctor, visits to the hospital. Another area is, how many medical areas does it actually cover? For myself, it covers dental, drugs, medicine drugs, and a variety of other categories in which I have a yearly or annual maximum spend that the company will reimburse me for. And remember, it's not just about dollars in your pocket, but also dollars that are not leaving your pocket. The next thing I want you to consider when it comes to your salary is your stock options or shares. So usually when you're working in tech, it is either a publicly traded company or it's a startup or scale up with intentions to go public at some time. And so there's some sort of stock sharing that comes with your compensation package. For instance, some companies will give you stock options if they haven't gone public yet, which means they're not publicly traded. There's no shares to be bought or sold. But they give you options, which means that they promise they will sell you X amount of shares when they become available at a reduced price. Or they will offer you actual shares, but usually if either of those are offered to you, they do enter something called a vesting period, which means that, let's say you get 10,000 shares, you don't get them necessarily up front. You could maybe if you had some sort of signing bonus, but you don't necessarily, this is not really like this is not the most common way. The most common way is that they will have a vesting period, which means you could get 5,000 in the first year, and then every 6 months thereafter, 2,000 shares will vest, so which means that you will get access to these shares after a certain time structure. Another area to consider when it comes to salary or total compensation is subsidies or perks. So a lot of companies will offer a transit subsidy. So they will give you a portion of money to go towards your transit commute, or if you, let's say, bike to work or walk to work, then that's just extra incentive for you. And there are things like access to discount programs or corporate perks or like company perks, such as a gym membership, yoga membership. And something that I mentioned earlier is the education grant. So the ability to, get certified in somewhere or get the cost of a conference ticket paid for under education. This is something that's actually becoming more important to me, is parental leave. What does that look like when I decide to, start my family and go on mat leave? Will I be supported by the company? If so, what does this look like? In Canada, we have something called EI, where the government will help you with your parental leave, but that's only to a maximum of a few $1,000s, I think. And so what companies will do is top up and give you the difference of your salary, maybe, and some don't, for a certain number of months. And so looking at that and considering that, if you do intend on having more children or starting your own family. This is a big one, and this is something that I think is a bit more standard when it comes to considering your total compensation, is paid time off. And paid time off is a umbrella term that covers vacation, that covers holidays, that covers sick days, and that covers any other type of paid time off that you are entitled to. I know some companies will shut down for 2 weeks during the Christmas holidays or December holidays and reopen back up. And so that's something to consider when you are looking at your compensation package, because again, money that is not going in necessarily, but is not leaving your pocket. Alrighty, so we've talked about company culture as an area to think about when evaluating your offer, as well as your career growth and total compensation. But I think there's one area that folks need to really dial into when you are evaluating that offer, and that's what your personal values are. Do they align with this company? Do you like having a flexible schedule? If so, then your company that you're going to work for should have a flexible schedule. If you're a social butterfly like I am and really value that time at work, then look for a company that has, social time built in terms of, or they support employees being social. And if it's not within your values to work for a particular industry, then make sure that if it's in an agency environment, that you are able to turn down positions or turn down projects that don't align to your values. But again, don't compromise your values to get your first job or your next job because of the dollar amount, or something seems really sexy, because ultimately it will eat at your soul and you will hate your job. So I do recommend taking a deep look inside to see what it is that is important to you and what it is that is a non-compromisable when it comes to adhering to your values. And with all those, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful in helping you think through your next job offer. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.